This is the 62nd episode of the Effective Executive podcast and YouTube channel. And in this episode, I wanted to go back to episode 54. I got lots of comments, a lot of views off of it. So, ride the horse. In essence, I wanted to, having just gotten back now from Disney World, go back through the 4 lessons from Disney's decline was the name of the episode I put out there. And I got lots of comments, lots of things that really hit a nerve, obviously. And it's kind of inspired me to create another channel with my wife, which I'll be announcing somehow. If you subscribe to this, I'll let you know. But anyway, the 4 lessons were entropy, focus on costs, increases costs, innovation, and not to copy. Those were the 4 things, the 4 lessons from Disney's decline. And you might be able to hear my dog snoring behind me. That's sometimes how it goes when you're recording it at home. So let's start with entropy. One of the things that we really got hit with when we were at Disney World this time, and remember, we go specifically for the Food and Wine Festival. And it used to start, I'm going to say maybe late September and run through the end of October. It's like a 2-month thing, maybe a little bit longer. They've been extending it. But now they started it like in August, and they ran it through, I think, this week or the middle of November. There were a number of things that were missing this time. And maybe this might be something attributable to COVID. I don't know the reason, but it affected my experience at the Food and Wine Festival. And the first thing is there was no festival center. It used to be close to Test Track in that area. And then they moved it over towards between the United Kingdom and Canada. And it was fine. I mean, I was happy with that. But I noticed last year during COVID that they had a reduced wine selection. I didn't really worry about it that much. But this year there was no wine available for sale, which we typically do as we go to the Food and Wine Festival. Not only try wines, but if we find one we like, we usually buy a bottle in the festival center shop. And they were not available. So this is, again, I don't know if this is entropy, if this is something that they're trying to get away from, but the fact that it's called the Food and Wine Festival, I can get the food. Sometimes you get the wine at the kiosks, but there were less kiosks while I was there too. The number of them, the good ones were still there. The Canada, where you get the filet, the mignon, and the cheddar and bacon soup, they're really, really good. But there were less kiosks, and the one thing that was missing there was there were no wine glasses that we could buy. We bought for this would have been the 16th year that we've attended. The previous 15 years, we've got wine glasses that we buy to kind of commemorate the visit there. But we went into a number of the shops that are around the International Showcase, and they didn't have any of the glasses. As a matter of fact, one lady told me she sold the last 2, a cast member told us, and she's kind of proud of that. But she said they sold out at the end of September, and she didn't think that they would be getting any more in, and this could be part of the supply chain issues that they're having, but it also might be because they started the Food and Wine Festival in August, and they're sold out of the glasses by the end of September. I don't know what the issue is, but it's this. I mean, Food and Wine Festival have wine glasses as to commemorate, and not having wine available. And I know Disney's all about revenue. So is this an entropy thing? I don't know the reasons behind it, but it feels like either something was missed or I don't know. It just feels sloppy to me. I guess would be the word that I'm looking for. As far as a focus on costs, I talked about focus on costs always increases costs. When people try to cut costs in the long run, it winds up costing you more money. 99 times out of 100, especially in organizations, see this all the time with this huge focus. Oh, we got to get our costs down so we show this much profit, and then it's it's mind-boggling what organizations will go through, big and small, in order to cut costs, especially the big ones that are reporting some type of have a quarterly report, trying to report good things to their shareholders. So this is where you'll typically get layoffs and other ridiculous things that don't help your organization in the long run. But anyway, Disney has, to me, done more of this lately, this focus on costs, and it comes out in small ways. But there are 4 values that they share for Disney is courtesy, safety, show, and efficiency. And I talked last time about the air conditioning being seemingly being turned down, whereas in the old days you could feel that air conditioning blowing out of the stores, and it felt good when you would walk by. And it was one of the things to show courtesy to their customers that they understand it's hot and they're going to do something for it. There were a couple stores that were cool as I went to different parks. I couldn't pinpoint one park versus another, but for the most part, it was with wall-to-wall people. Turn the air conditioning on, was kind of what I was left with. And we have secret spots that we go to in order to find air conditioning, by the way. But anyway, as far as show goes, I mentioned popcorn. It was back at the entrance, had been gone, probably something associated with COVID would be my guess. So I was happy to see that. So anyway, those were a few things on the focus for costs. And then the third thing was innovation. Now, I'd not ridden, it just came out, Ratatouille's Adventure. And I gave it an 8 out of 10. I mean, I thought it was something. It was a new experience. It was good. And if you're going, I suggest that you get it. We did not use the enhanced Genie Plus or the Lightning Lane or purchase anything. We were able to get a time to go in or a group number to go in. But the thing is, I always compare things to like Peter Pan. Now, Peter Pan it's kind of ridiculous that every time you go there, it's 60 to 75 minutes every time that you go to Peter Pan. But it's one of those things that you try to go to. Now, this last time we didn't have time. We had other things that were on our mind, but I wasn't going to wait 60 to 75 minutes to ride Peter Pan this last time. But it has that kind of longevity associated with it. So I gave Ratatouille an 8 out of 10 as far as the newness and those types of things, but I gave it a 5 out of 10 as far as the longevity. Well, Dumbo was unique, and they kept the line down, but then they made a move to have 2 Dumbos running at the same time. And ever since then, you've never had to wait for a line, I guess, and it's iconic, and you can sit in a Dumbo and get a picture. But something's a little bit lost. It was one of the original rides, I guess. I kind of liked it the old way, where you had to wait. And, you're waiting in line with your son or daughter, when they're smaller, and this, I think, good memories of that. But anyway, I thought I would mention the Ratatouille as far as innovation. I thought was pretty cool. We did pay for Rise of the Resistance. I say we. My wife paid. She got on. She wanted to give it one more shot because we kind of left the Rise of the Resistance ride the last time going, type of thing. And I think I mentioned that I almost looked at it as an enhanced way to wait in line. And Rise of the Resistance, we rode again, and I still came out of it going, if you're a big Disney or a Star Wars fan, I get it. You want to go to that. Certainly, if you've never been to Disney World before, Rise of the Resistance, very cool. That you would want to do it at least once. But for me, it was, and I like Star Wars, but I just thought the ride was, I wasn't blown away. So anyway, that from an innovation standpoint, you try some things like this, and I don't believe that you have to, have huge wins. I like the fact Disney does swing for the fences sometimes, and they miss. I still miss Toad's Adventure, Wild Ride, or whatever it was called back in the days, but they've taken that out. So, the lesson of innovation is there are also little things that you can do. What are some of the little things? Well, there are big things like the gondolas, the Skyliner. I thought that's very cool. I really like that. I think they can do a lot more with it as far as the gondolas go. The International Showcase is unique. And they ruined it by virtue of putting out these huge barges for Harmonious, which I thought was probably a little bit better than mediocre. And the International Showcase, you can't see anything as you walk around the world. I can't say you can't see anything, but one of the sights that you get, kind of like when you go into Cinderella's Castle, is when you're at Epcot. Cinderella's Castle at Magic Kingdom, when you're at Epcot, it's that international showcase and seeing all those countries around there and those types of things. Now it's been blocked by these behemoth structures, barges that hold the fireworks and the water cannons for the show. Now, people have different opinions about that, and maybe Disney already knows I'm in the minority through some of the surveys that they've done. Could be. But it took away something from me. Then I didn't get anything that I thought was better for that particular show. That Happily Ever After, which was a great show at Magic Kingdom at the close of the park, was replaced by Disney Enchantment. Wow. I mean, I thought Happily Ever After, they've done a number of things. Now, I don't know whether Happily Ever After had the, I was at the back more towards the exit because there were so many people, but you saw reflections or not reflections, what are they? Projections on the sides of the building. Very, very cool. That and the Disney Enchantment, the fireworks show was great, and you could tell fans. I mean, the place is packed all the way down Main Street at Magic Kingdom. It's really exciting, and these are the types of things I really like that Disney does super well. Now, the fourth thing that I talked about was don't copy. We're getting Tron, and it's been slowed down by Disney World is getting Tron, and it's been slowed down by COVID as far as some of the construction, those types of things. But it's coming along, but it's already at some of the other parks. And so to me, this thing of don't copy, maybe not even copy some of the other parks that's unique to that particular park, like the International Showcase. That's a thought. But definitely don't copy competition, because that will always leave you behind as far as being an executive. But there's a number of little things that I think that Disney could do that are low cost or maybe even no cost if they sat down and thought more about the customer experience. But again, what are you spending your time on as an executive? Are you focusing on costs or are you focusing on the customer? And you can't do both. It's not possible. The costs will take care of themselves if you find things because of the revenue that you gain that your customers like. And so these are some of the takeaways that I had. So I mixed a little bit of my Disney background. I've been going to Disney. Well, I went to Disneyland long before even Disney World was even open. Well, not long before, but 7 or 8 years before, because I had a family that lived out near Disneyland, and so we went there several times. And then in 1971, I went in the fall when they opened up. And then probably a pretty long dry spell there until I'm guessing probably the late 80s. So, but I've been there a number of times to have seen a lot of the change that happens, the good and the bad of it. And there's a number of things, I still go back, is the bottom line. They haven't chased me away completely. It's become just one of those things they do. But they do need to improve that Food and Wine Fest. I'm still mad about the glasses. Anyway, hope you got something out of this. There's something for the Disney fan or non-fan, something for an executive to maybe think about, and some of the things that they have out there. I'll catch you next week.